Hi everybody, it's Jenn from McCreath. Today is March 31st, 2018, which means it's the 10th annual International Transgender Day of Visibility. As you can see, I've got my trans flag flying behind me, and right next door are non-binary, aka genderqueer flag flying today. Quite the ironic March 31st. The first Transgender Day of Visibility was obviously March 31st, 2009, which is the very first day that I lost a job after being out as trans. I lived more than 30 years without ever thinking of the day or thinking of the concept of being trans or losing a job because of being trans. And lo and behold, there it was. 4 years later, I lost my job again on March 31st, 2013. So we have some interesting milestones to talk about today. It's now been 9 years since I was gainfully employed in a job that respected and recognized my education and work experience. I have been underemployed ever since. 5 years ago, I was laid off a job as a file clerk, which would represent the very last time I had a job that was Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, as since then I've only been able to secure work in a shift environment that included evening, weekends, and overnights. And look no further than my blog to see how that experience essentially wrecked my life to a certain extent, and that I'm still trying to rebuild it. It's interesting. We've seen a great year. I'm going to shift and get these colors behind me now. Our non-binary members of the trans community have had a great couple of years. We've seen changes in legislation to allow for ID documents to be changed without having to have surgery, which is very important for non-op or can't-op or pre-op members of the trans community. The opportunity to have documents that reflect your gender as opposed to what's between your legs. We've also seen movements across Canada to introduce the legit non-binary birth certificate or government document with neither male or female, and we've seen success right here in Newfoundland as somebody named Jenn asked to have a birth certificate that was neither male nor female, and the government agreed to do that. Let's go back quickly to our pink and blue. Let's not forget that there are still issues affecting those who desire full physical and medical transitions. Human rights is not enough. Birth certificate access is not enough. Hormones and surgeries are an important piece to a lot of transitions, including mine. And access to these services are difficult. Access to government funding is even more difficult as we continue to fight out-of-date and discriminatory health policies. And in some cases, because we are unable to fully transition to where we need to be, we see a lot of trans people suffering from depression and anxiety, as well as struggles in society to gain acceptance from family, friends, and again, I go back to the concept of employers. The biggest issue facing adult trans people is access to employment. Kudos to a lot of the colleges and universities out there who are making bathrooms accessible to all, but let's not take our eye off the ball. The past year we've seen other minority groups step up to the plate and gain significant social acceptance and politically correctness. Specifically the women's movement. Ever since Justin Trudeau became Prime Minister and said he wanted 50% of his cabinet to be women, we've seen an explosion of women's rights. We've also in recent times seen a lot of attention paid to the historical negative abuse in which our society and our governments had paid towards Aboriginal peoples. And we're seeing apologies pop out left, right, and center. We're seeing shrimp quota being taken away from Newfoundlanders and given to Aboriginals and Native Canadians. Good on all you people for fighting for your rights. You're doing a great job. Unfortunately, trans community, we're getting forgotten. We're getting left out. We're being thrown under the bus. We're being told, well, we already gave you human rights. What else is there to talk about? Well, there are things that still need to be talked about, folks. We ourselves, I think, are our own worst enemies. We can't find a way to get together and advocate for ourselves. Having individual people turn on a computer and spit out a video like this one is only a small piece to the solution. We need trans group organization, and specifically those of us who are looking to or are in the process of or trying to finish up the physical side of the transition, the surgical sides. Our voices are being silenced and forgotten and left out. Even some of our friends in the gay lesbian community are pushing their agendas over top of ours, asking for apologies, and that's another thing. We got an apology from the government of Canada for the way they treated gay public servants in the 1960s and 70s. Sorry folks, this apology stuff is a cop-out. It's a lot easier to stand up there and apologize for something somebody else did 50 years ago than to actually act on the problems of today. Newfoundland, I'm gonna specifically start with you, trans people. I think it's time. It's been a long time since I hit the road and did some trans visibility in other parts of our province. I live here in St. John's. Ever since I stopped touring the province and doing trans events, I have not seen anyone else willing to stand up and organize said events. It's a little bit of a shame that Trans Day of Visibility also falls on Easter weekend, which is why I've elected not to do any traveling or events today. I don't want to disrespect those celebrating Easter, and I don't want to be drowned out by Easter as well. But April is right around the corner, and I can't think of a better time to have some trans visibility activities in the province of Newfoundland. So trans people, I'd like to hear from you wherever you are in the province. Gander, Grand Falls, Springdale. Had a good time out there a long time ago. Heck, Marystown, Buren. How about you, Burgeo? Deer Lake, Corner Brook, St. Anthony, Port aux Basques. Even you folks up there in Labrador. If there are trans people in this province who are willing to stand up and say hello to the world and talk about some of their experiences and ask for the equalities that we still lack in society, then I'd like to hear from you, and I'd like to meet with you, and I'd like to come out and hit the road, bring my trans flags, and have some sort of event that helps to visualize us, and we'll get the media there. I think the media has seen so much Jennifer McCreath and Gemma Hickey that we tend to forget that there's a lot of other trans people out here, and it's time for some of you folks to stand up, because I think the world, at least here in our province, they don't see trans as being an issue because it only affects the two people that they see on TV all the time. And I think it's time that they hear some more stories from some different people in the community. And I respect those of you that want to stay quiet or closeted, but at the same time, if you want the change that you know you need, you're going to have to be part of that solution. You're going to have to step up to the plate. And I've been doing this for 10, actually almost 11 years now. And but yeah, there you have it. Trans Day of Visibility, let's not forget. And let's everybody, not just members of our own community, but our friends and our allies. We need to speak out. We need to call out injustices against trans people as we see them. And we need to work together to find solutions for the problems that unfortunately still very much exist in today's world. Well, thank you everyone for watching. I won't take up any more of your time. Have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from you. I'm Jenn from McCreath saying thank you and good night.